Hello my friends, how you doing? Let's see if this is okay. Let's stop the music. Let's hope this is a good start this time. I think the background is good. Let's see. That's okay. That's all right. Good. So how are you doing? How was your week? It's already Sunday again, which is really crazy. Time flies. Sorry, I'm doing some stuff on the second screen. There's always some stuff that has to be finished. Okay, there we go. Oh, no, that's not good. There we go. Okay, let me pull over the chat to the middle of the screen. There we go. And now I can look at you. Hi, how are you doing? Hi, everybody. Good. Oh, I can't. Okay, now I can see the first. Hi, Jens. Hi, Hermann. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. From Germany, from Holland. Hi. Chrisilia, hi, how are you doing? Patrick from Alaska. We should at some point do a map, right? That would be cool to where everybody can put a little dot where they are. That would be interesting. Hi, Delfert. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. Hi, Renee. Okay, awesome. Whew. So let's see. Let's have some people join. I have seen there have been some problems with the plugin, the gimmick. How do you pronounce that, by the way? Plugin. But yeah, that's the thing with free software. You have to experiment around a little bit to get it work, and it's not available for every platform. So yeah, there's a little bit of a downside too. To free software. Yeah, but if it works, it's great. And they have some cool stuff in there that's even more high quality than some stuff that I've seen on paid apps, right? So that's pretty awesome. The only thing I'm missing is a good way to save presets, because that could save a lot of time. The bookmark thing didn't work for me reliably, so that's a problem. Yeah. Who else joined? Well, let me see. Hi, Rocco from New York City. Hey, how are you doing? Dan from Manchester. Hi. Chris from Peak District. Oh, okay, awesome. Hi. Alan from Liverpool. Volkmar, hi, from Germany, I think. Yes, right. Christian from Frankfurt. Hi, how are you doing? Awesome. All right. Good. So, I would say we have a look at the gimmick. It's gimmick. It's a wordplay, right? It has to be gimmick, right? At the gimmick plugin, we can also do some other stuff today if we want to. Hey, Christian from Vienna. Really? So we are in the same? To Vienna. Sorry, I already said hello. Okay, cool. By the way, before we get started, I have a special topic today. And I wanted to pull up more information here, but kind of let me see. Is there something else? Oh yeah, there's one more. Animation. Let me search for that real quick, and then we can also look at other stuff. Oh, that's kind of strange. Okay, anyways, let's look at that. So, is the camera a little bit too low? Too high? Oh no, now the background is not working. Oh no. I shouldn't do this while I'm streaming. Okay, this is better. Let's I feel so small. I look like a dwarf. That's not good. Look like from World of Warcraft. 1 second. So there's always something that's not completely. This is better. Okay, now I'm a little bit taller again. That is better. All right. What was I about to say? Oh yes. So one topic I want to talk about real quick was I made a post about GIFs, and why we don't have more of that, especially also like. My post was maybe phrased a little bit strange, I suppose. So it was basically like, why don't we have this as photography right now, right? As you know from Harry Potter, they have these magazines and there's like these little animated pictures in there. And why do we still make like still photos? And a lot of people are like, GIFs are dumb, and I'm not a videographer, and photos are this and that's not photography and stuff like that. And I completely understand if that is not your thing, and if you want to like be doing your thing, you know, be a specialist in one area, and you don't have to do certain things, right? Not everybody has to do everything. But at the same time, I find it a little bit disappointing that there is not more open-mindedness, or how do you say, like wonder, or like what's the English word for that? The eagerness to try things, or to know about things, or to understand things. Even if you don't do that, just to like say, wow, okay, that is like, okay, GIFs have been around for a long time. But the important thing is to think about what could be possible with that, right? This is what is important to me, right? To have the openness to think about the abilities and possibilities we can do with that. And photography never was just one thing. So that's very important also to have. Hi, Gary from Clayton on Sea. Okay, interesting. Okay. Hi, Jason. Thanks for joining. So let me switch over here a little bit to, where's my screen? There we go. So if you think about GIFs, it's not like, I didn't mean GIFs specifically. I mean animated photos, or photos that can move. And we have a lot of these things around, and always, like, photography never was just one thing. It was a ton of different things throughout the centuries, like since it has been developed, basically. And it's always changing, right? There was never a time where you could say, okay, this specifically is photography, but the rest is not, right? And so especially these animated pictures, because now most of the devices we use that display pictures are capable of showing video at the same time, or having sound at the same time, really invite you to do more than just like a classic 2D standing picture, right? So that's interesting from the potential, right? Appreciation, yeah, curiosity, that is what I was looking for, curiosity, to be curious about these things. By the way, while we talk about this, a little bit of self-advertisement, let's go to Anchor real quick. I made actually, just one podcast episode so far about that. And public site, you can see it here. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. It calls Why Do Artists Have Dirty Feet? And this is specifically about this kind of thing of we need to think about outside of the things we know, outside of the things we understand, just to be curious, just to be interested in what could be possible, what could change, how things could be improved, because this is how culture evolves. If you think about how we have been 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and how we are now, we have changed dramatically, like really intensely dramatically as a culture, as people, as how we understand ourselves. So this is what that is about, basically. You can, by the way, also listen to it on Spotify and Radio Public and Pocket Cast and Google Podcast and Breaker if you want to. I should maybe link that. If you want to have a look at that, you can. Oh, wait, this is the wrong window. There we go. Boom, there, if you want to look at that. So just to point this out, this is, by the way, kind of a new way on technology, which maybe we should talk about a little bit, but just let's talk about these other things. So you have this, which is called Plotterverse. I've made a YouTube video about that, where you can animate your photos. So this is like photo editing, but the result is an animated clip, basically, right? Where you can have these kind of crazy effects here and all kinds of other effects that you can create. If you look at this, for example, here, this here, you can do that. This is made from a 2D photo into an animation that gives it more of a dimension. You know, it adds something additional to that. Hi, Chaku from Finland. How are you doing? And Pavel from Wuppertal. Thanks for joining. And also we have stuff like, if you think about this, like if you think about motion picture, basically it's photos, but just like slide it after another, so they make motion. So because some people said, yes, I'm a photographer, but I'm not a movie maker, I don't make film. But if you make a long time exposure for 5 seconds, or if you film for 5 seconds, that's exactly the same thing you do with your camera. But on one point you get one picture like this here with the hands, and on the other one you get like a little film, a little rolling clip. The thing is, most cameras don't output these animated videos, clips, GIFs, whatever. You know what I mean? Well, it's kind of strange, right? Why this is not like implemented. Some do if you have a smartphone, but the DSLRs don't do that. That is strange. Another thing is this here, where you have like a photo and then just a tiny part of that moves, right? If you think about, we are surrounded by screens all day long in our lives. We have TVs, we have tablets, we have smartphones. A lot of them have like always on screens. Well, maybe not today, but some have. Like, for example, smartphones have always on functions where you can have these things that are always animated, or you have animated wallpaper, stuff like that. And that's an interesting dimension, right? Another thing that's also photography is stereo photography. By the way, I want to really research that a little bit more, how you could do that with modern equipment, because these, if you line them up with your eyes, like you have to do like cross-eyed a little bit. And I would really suggest that you want to look at that to zoom out a bit, like so it's smaller and it's kind of easier to look at. There's also devices you can buy for your smartphone to put them on the smartphone so you can see it through your smartphone, and it's actually a 3D picture, which is amazing. If you have a scene that's like, I don't know, 100 years ago or so, and you actually see the space into the picture, that's pretty interesting. So there has been a lot of different things. And also, this is the newest version where they animate pictures from your relatives or anything else, and with AI, so it moves around a little bit, right? As you can see, there's a little bit of head movement, there's a little bit of eye movement. And the interesting thing is that this simulates the facial movements in a way where it simulates the way we have also emotion, because motion and emotion are connected. The way we feel or the way we see the emotion in other people is by their subtle motions that they have in their face, in their hands, with their eyes, stuff like that. So this is why when you look at that picture, you can associate a certain type of like emotion. For example, like this right here. You know that he's thinking about, this is the classic thinking look of, I'm not sure. You know, that's the thing. And this is how we also identify what is going on inside the mind of a person without being able to reach into the mind of a person. So this is a really interesting application and has another dimension for photography. These are like really interesting things to do. Of course, it's really creepy at the same time, but this is because we're not used to that, right? This is just because it's new and we haven't experienced that. But at the same time, it's a really interesting transformation, because, and this is like in our, like mainly in the Western culture, if you think about it, dead people are dead. They are like gone, right? You can visit them on the graveyard, that's that, but that's like their participation in society has actively ended, and then they are just a memory, and that's that. And you can like cry and be sad, but there is no interaction with the dead, right? But this is the Western culture. This is not the international culture. In other cultures, you have very much an interaction with dead people. For example, they prepare food for them, like they do, for example, in Taiwan, where they cook something, they put it there in front of the picture, stuff like that. Or in other cultures, they take out the bones and give them, I think, new clothing and wash them, and then they put them back. So they celebrate with them, stuff like that. So there's different cultures, different kinds of interactions, right? So it is not unthinkable to have a culture where the dead people have a bigger involvement in our lives still, right? For example, where your dead mother or grandmother can still wish you a happy birthday with her own voice through one of these pictures and have kind of an interaction, you know? So that's possible. And this is how also culture evolves. This is an important part of that. How technology evolves influences dramatically how culture evolves. These are very, very close connected. And so this is why it's also meaningful to look at new things and how and why they evolve, because we are going to be that in some years. it's not just technology, it's part of who we are. And so if we see a new technology, we can think about how much of that will be my life in 5 years from now, in 10 years from now, right? I can really good remember when the first iPad came out and I ordered one, and everybody says I'm an idiot because nobody's using that. This is kind of, who needs an iPad? You have a laptop, you have a phone, the iPod has no place. Now I know people who are older than me and they have a tablet because it's just more useful to them, right? They don't want a laptop or a computer. They want to have an iPad where you can touch the stuff and everything is easy, and it's more like interactive, and you can read books and stuff like that with really big fonts. My mother really loves her Kindle. She doesn't need glasses for that, right? So that's a huge transformation of culture through technology, right? Okay, that's enough about that. Let's have a look at the chat. I just like, it's like the one thing I wanted to say is be more open-minded, like be more curious. Don't say, that's stupid because I've never done that and I don't want to do that. Just think about the possibilities. What could come from that, right? What could be the thing? Let's pop the chat out so I can see that again, and we can go back to the talk view like so. There we go. What did the chat say? Sorry. Deep Notes, wait a second. Delford says Deep Notes company is now creating live movement from old pictures via AI. Yeah, this is what I was just showing. And there is there's other companies out there that can use like small samples of your voice and then create artificial voice from that. And they can also animate the mouth fitting to the voice, so the lips are synced to the voice, which is right now you can use that. There's a company called wait a second, it's called what is it? It's called Dscript. And they do something for people who do podcasts and who do videos like me and stuff like that. So if I make a video and then I say a word and I want to replace the word, I can write the word in a text tool, like a normal text edit, and then it will just say it with my voice, that different word, right? So that's already here. That's not a thing that can happen. Maybe that's already here, right? So we will see a lot of these changes. In our how we create pictures and how we understand pictures, right? What else? Sabina says, I like animated photos. That's cool. Yeah, I like animated photos too. I've never created one, but I like them. They have a lot of potential. I want to research that a lot more because I was so amazed by the opening of, one second. I have to research that real quick. What is that? Something with gods in the title. American Gods? Is it that? Yes, American Gods. If you look at the opening sequence, they have this like moving animated 3D thing, and I thought if you have a TV screen and you make a portrait. And it's like the camera is moving just a tiny bit, very slow, and the person is also moving just a little bit, and you have some animated elements in there, and you hang that as a TV screen on the wall vertically. That should be amazing. That's much better than the classic format, right, of a artwork where you can really have a connection to that, right? That seems really interesting. Did someone upload Jens says, did someone upload a picture to Vlad in the Impaler already? I don't know what that means. Who is Vlad? Vlad the Impaler. What is that? You can also upload sculptures. I think there's one picture where they... Oh, okay. So he's the original Dracula. You can do that. You can upload a painting or a stone sculpture, stuff like that, and it will equally be animated. Everything that has a face, a human face, will be animated with that software, right? Hi, Shari from Wisconsin. Thanks for joining. Pavel says, my mother also loves her Kindle like yours because of the font and light. Yes, It's really perfect for that. And then you can also look up words if you don't understand them, and you can have the book read to you. There's a lot of benefits to that, right? Check last deepfake with Tom Cruise. Oh, wasn't it? Yeah, there was like a YouTube. They are called the Corridor Crew, right? And they made this deepfake video with Tom Cruise. So that's also a big thing that's happening with these kind of with this kind of technology. Yeah. So that's really interesting. There's a lot of change going on, and also understanding of who we are, right? Because you can also create these images randomized, right? So you can create an animated picture that looks like a live person with the eyes moving around of an image of a person that was never real. That is not an actual person. It's not a remix of photos. It's actually created by the AI. There's another link here. Let me look at people. Let's never real. What is it called? Wait a second. AI. Yes, this one here. Wait a second. I have to switch over again. Work live. So this here, these are pictures. Every time you reload the page, you see a new photo. And this is not a person. This is an AI creation. This is not made from different kind of photos into a new photo. This is actually created by the AI. So this person has never existed out there. And the interesting thing is you also, again, you can see some emotions in that person, also different ages, as you can see here, all kinds of things. You can also, the interesting thing is you can also see different histories. So if you look at the person, this is the thing that we, by the way, today I heard a really interesting audiobook. It's called, how is it, what's the name? From the, let me look that up. It's from the guy who made, who was a really big, important person in Pixar. 1 second, let me turn my phone off here for a second. The book is called Creative Inc., right? And it's by Ed Catmull. And he says that in science, they have figured out that only 40% of what we see only 40% of what we think we see is actually coming from our eyes. The rest is coming from our mind, filling in the gaps. And this is interesting, but if you think about it, it also makes sense, because if you look out in the world and you see a lot of things, you don't look at everything at the same time. You focus on a certain point that you want to look at. For example, I don't know, the ice cream that you want to buy, you look at that, but there's a lot of stuff around that, and your mind just fills in all of these things and say, okay, this is the texture of a shirt, and this is kind of how a tree looks and what the texture is on that. You don't need to see that. This is the same way that we read books, right? You don't read every word. You see like the first 3 or 4 letters and say, okay, this is that word, and then this is probably that word, and so you make it out from the context. You don't have to read every single letter to understand a word. You just see the form and you're like, okay, that is the word, I don't know, river, for example, right? Or happiness. You don't have to read the full word to see that that is the word. And you know that because there's these pictures online where they write the word wrong, but you still understand the word because you never read the word in the first place. That's interesting. So how this is connected to this picture is that when you look at the picture, because we make up a lot of information from what we understand from our surroundings, when you look at this picture here, you can see a certain history of the life of this person, of the choices she made, even if this person was never real. And this is the interesting thing, right? The person can have a history without ever existing. For example, this person has glasses, and this person has bad eyesight. That's part of the history, and had at some point go to an optician, I think it's called in English, to get glasses. Of course, this never happened, but in our mind, we know that this had to happen if this was real, right? So that's interesting, right? Let's go to another picture here. Everything, like, look at that. Like there's red cheeks. Is this a sunburn? Is it a skin irritation? Okay, there's a monster in the background, so that's very creepy. There's all stuff that can happen with these kind of things. They're not perfect yet, but look at that. There's some stuff going on here in the face. I'm amazed by that, because it really calls into action, who are we? What is our existence? How made up are we, right? And this, I mean, pictures also do that to you. This is also the interesting understanding where it comes back to photos. Photos are, they give you an impression of something that was never real. A photo is never a documentation of something. It's always just picking up certain elements and putting them together in a way that creates what the photographer decided to show you. But it's never the real thing, because the real thing consists of a million things that even the photographer hasn't realized are there or are happening or are connections between the things, right? So that's also interesting. There was something I wanted to say. Oh yeah. This also comes back to our mind and how our mind works. And the interesting, like for example, if you have ever suffered from depression or stuff like that, the first thing you will probably hear is that the therapist will tell you it's only in your mind. It's not as bad as it is. You have a different expectation from what reality should be and what reality is. And this is interesting, because if you understand that, what it also means is that every person is a certain impression, a certain idea of what reality is, but none of these ideas is actually real. None of us has an actual concept of what reality is. We only have this concept, and there's a lot of other concepts out there. Again, this is why it's important to be open-minded, so you can tap for a short moment into these other forms of understanding reality and say, oh, that's possible. You can do that. Maybe I can do that. It's like a form of living. It's a form of expression. And this is also what leads to new artistic understandings, right? Okay, so this was really far from from gifts to what is reality. Yeah, very far, but still really interesting, right? All these things are connected. Okay, I've talked I think for 20 minutes now, 25 minutes. That should be enough of that. Okay, what are we going to do today? I think we want to look at gimmick, right? To have a look at how that works, and also the challenge of the week, right? Okay. Sparky says, hi Olivia, I started photo editing a few weeks ago, your videos, and you are really big help. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, that really is, how to say, I really appreciate that. Matrix, yes, the Matrix. Yes, absolutely a thing. Right. Yeah. Okay, let's open something up here. And then we can experiment with these functions we have here, right? Here we have the downloads. Let's see. And I don't know. I'm always impressed by these kind of things. Should we use this photo again that I've used in the? We can also use another picture. What is this here? Maybe, I don't know. We can also open this picture here. I will resize it a little bit so it's smaller, so we don't have to wait that long. For it to render. Oh god, this is really big from the resolution. That's not good. Let's go with like 2000 maybe. So we have a bit of resolution left. There we go. Okay. There was something else. But anyway, you can still use the chat to ask some things. I can't remember. Anyways. Oh yeah, by the way, for everybody who had problem installing the software, let's have a look at that too. 1 second. So what I was told, and I also made this a sticky comment under the under my video, is that when you go here to download, first of all, don't download this here, not this. Download this here. That's the right one over here. This is the right one. You want to have this one here. And because you see there it says for Affinity Photo, click on that, zip archive, and then you have here different versions. And I was told if your version doesn't work so good, that maybe try one of these older versions here and see if that works for you better, if it's more stable, if it loads into Affinity at all, because for some people it didn't load into Affinity. So give that a try, and maybe that fixes your issues. Also try to update Windows and try to update Affinity Photo, and then you have a better chance to get this to work, right? Hi, Frank from Ontario. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. All right, let's have a look here. So there we have our plugin. By the way, the input output settings, I'm not an expert from this plugin in any form, by the way. I just have tried that myself. So what I think these input output settings are is that you have some of these plugins in here that can do some animated stuff, and I think that the output folder is where that stuff goes. Animate. So for example here, 3D elevation animation, and you can say you want to have this and that much frames, but you can select the output folder here. So I'm not sure what that does. By the way, we have a little bit of an artifact here from my light. Let's fix that real quick. Okay. No, is that even worse now? What's going on? It's worse. Okay. Every time what? Okay. Okay, I will leave it like that before I crash my computer and okay, never mind. Whoop. All right, so you have a search up here, which is really nice, and you have a ton of effects. Did you find anything good? Anything where you thought, hey, that's amazing, I want to use that? You have these light leaks here, for example. I found that really nice. To be honest, and this sounds like a self-advertisement, it kind of is. I find my light leaks actually better because they are easier to handle, because you have these sliders here and you have to like figure out what they do and all these kind of things. So mine are more intuitive because you actually control the light leaks with your with like handles, right? And here you only have these sliders, but it's still a cool effect. You can do some pretty interesting things here. Oh, there's even a hue setting. Oh, that's nice. The hue setting is nice. Okay. There we go. Hi, Traute. Thanks for joining. Thank you very much. There's no way to install it on Mac. Yeah, there is no Mac version. This is really strange. I don't understand why, because usually if they do these open software tools, they are available everywhere. And I think GIMP, for example, is available everywhere, but that is not. So that's kind of strange. Hi, Robert from Washington. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. I've noted that when you apply the filter to an image, that the image has to be exported as a save file rather than in the Affinity document you're working on. Oh, what do you mean by that? The image has to be exported as a save file rather than in the Affinity document you're working at. I'm not sure what you mean. Because if you click on OK here, it's rendered as the layer that you have. So usually what I would suggest, because this is a destructive plugin, is to right click here and make a duplicate so you have a backup, and then use the filter so you can go back if you decide later on, like not right away, but later on, that you want to go back to the original version and like have a second go on it. There's a ton of artistic filters in here, which some of are very strange. I don't know what this is. I can't move this. Oh no, I can. What the? If you have any idea what this does, let me know. So this is more like a experimental stream today. What is going on right now? Amplitude. I don't know what this does. Rise? Gaussian? Opacity? Oh. Amplitude? I have no idea. Sigma. Let's pull this up here. Oh, that's better. Wow, that looks pretty interesting. Why is it so dark though? Amplitude? I mean, it looks cool, but I'm not sure. What the darkness is. There's this gray area. That's strange. I like your stuff better than most other, just saying. Wow, thank you very much. Awesome. I like your solution. They are better, faster, and have a better control. Really? That's like, yeah, I really try to kind of to get to the point in the videos. And you won't believe how many times I start a video and how many times I decide on a video where I say, it's kind of good, but it's not good enough. And then I scrap the video and I make another video. And then I start like 20 times to just get the first, like it's always the first 30 seconds that are the problem. The rest is mostly like, okay, works, but the first 30 seconds, the intro and all this kind of stuff to come to the point, I often film that over and over and over again just to get that right. And to not waste time and to keep it interesting and all these kind of things. I don't know what that does. It's interesting, but I don't know why it's so dark. By the way, have you realized, like, let's click on apply. Let's have a look at this. I make a screenshot here, 1 second. Boom, there we go. And let's render this because I've also realized that this gives you a different result when it's rendered. Maybe. Oh no, this is similar. Let's have a, let's put this in here so you can see my stream on the side. No, this looks very similar. So this is good. This is okay. Yeah, it's actually an interesting effect. It's kind of a painting effect. And yeah. You see, like, this is also an interesting thing. Like, we always try to automate things instead of, like, learning them ourselves. Because, of course, why not? It makes it more useful and more approachable for most people. And at the same time, you can do more things with it, right? Joining late from Michigan. Hi, Penny. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. You watch the beginning this time. Like when you finished it, go back and watch the start, because this time it was a really interesting thing where I go from GIFs to the concept of reality, like really big. But it's really interesting to watch. Give it a try. Yeah, maybe I should download that and make it a podcast. I don't know. Let's see. Anyways. When the filter is applied to the selected layer, then click apply to save the file. Dialog box appears. The file is saved rather than applied directly to the open Affinity document. Again, when the filter is applied to the selected layer, then click apply and save a save file dialog box appeared. In my case, there is no box. Did you see a box? Maybe I'm ignoring the box. Let's click on apply. Oh, you click here and apply. I click on OK. What does apply do? Let's see. It shows me some seconds and some megabytes down here. And oh, it's now applied to the picture, but now the effect is applied again, so that's probably not good. I click on OK, and then it renders it out. I think this can be used when you want to apply the effect, and then you want to like apply a second effect to that first picture. 1 second. You see, now the effect is still there, and now you can apply a second filter. I think this is what it's doing. And when you want to have it in Affinity Photo, you then click on OK, and this is rendering it into Affinity Photo as a layer. Sadly, not as a new layer. Maybe there's a setting where you can do that, but I just copied it beforewards. This is a really cool picture. This is something like I don't know. I should discuss this with some artist or something. Maybe with a painter friend of mine. But he's always like, "Oh, my English isn't good enough." If you look at that, like, I think most people would be amazed if they can paint like this. You know, this kind of level of abstraction and artistic vision that's in there. This is not easy if you want to do that. Maybe you think like, it's just putting some color on there and go crazy. But to do this, to look at the landscape and see this and then paint that is really hard. That takes a long time to learn that. And the machine makes it like in 5 seconds. And for me, I'm like thinking, where is the difference then? Like, of course, the difference is that the one result is the result of years of studying and is a very focused result because you wanted to create like this, while this is a happy accident. But at the same time, this is also creativity. You could use this as a source for your creativity, right? So there's no mind behind that. That's the big difference, right? But artistically, from the inspiration, I'm not sure. It's interesting, right? Cubist style, yes, cubism, right? Yeah, it simulates cubism in a certain way, and it kind of tries, right? So, yeah, it's interesting. I really like that. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily put it on the wall, this one here, but I would like it at a museum, right? So that's interesting. Let's cancel this, by the way, and then start fresh, because we have already applied the other filter. So yeah. By the way, this, if you want to download, this is called Gimmick, I think. Let's pull the page up again. Gimmick, and it's completely free. It's originally, it has been a GIMP plugin, and now it's a plugin that you can also use in Photoshop and in Affinity Photo and stuff like that, right? By the way, I have to ask you something. Last time I made this video about Gimmick, but I was thinking if I should make a video that is titled 5 Things I Hate About Affinity Photo. And I was like, but should I do that? And are people maybe getting angry? I think I kind of really want to do it. Oh, my software is not responding anymore. I think it's crashing. Why is it crashing? Oh, because we're in here. Okay, that's okay. Let's maybe cancel this real quick so it doesn't really... Oh, there's a box. A Gimmick command is running. Really want to... yes, I want to close it. Okay, good. I thought that would be an interesting video. You know, maybe it also sparks more discussion about that topic, because there's some things that are really not great. Not like where I would say I don't like the software, but there's some things that really like annoy me. And that could be a funny video, right? So that maybe is interesting. I think probably a lot of people agree about these points. So that might be fun. You don't always have to be super positive about everything. There's always like things that can be better, right? Oh. Hello. That looks great. What do we have here? Do it. I think, yeah, I will do that. Next Saturday maybe. Right, because I have already planned something for next Tuesday, unless I'm not getting finished with it, because that's a more involved video. Wow, that's a cool one. If we do that, you might give Affinity Photo a change. A chance to change it to the better. Yeah, maybe. That might be, yeah, that's true. Hi, Barry from Australia. How are you doing? Wow. That is pretty awesome. Look at that. Before, after. Or let's make a thing here. 1 second. Rectangle, and then right click and merge mask to below. And now we can move this around like so. Whoa. Look at how the curtain is painted. It removed this kind of, I don't know what, fragments or whatever that is here. and then made it really smooth and a very nice painting. Wow. I wish I could paint like that. That is impressive. And so, like, actually dreamlike. That is a really good description also for the filter. That is really impressive. And to have that for free is really very impressive. Huh. Wow. Look at the stones in the background. Crazy. I'm impressed. That is actually, we have to, let's turn this off and then duplicate that. Yeah. Because I thought I should maybe also do a little bit more edgy videos, right? My channel is experimental sometimes and artistic, hopefully most of the time, but not very edgy. It's very like clean, squeaky clean, you know, maybe too clean. So maybe do something that's a little bit more, yeah. Okay, so I've saved this. Let's go to the next one here. What else can we do? What is this? Yeah, okay. Not my kind of thing, but yeah, interesting. By the way, one thing that I don't think this has that I kind of miss here is a randomize button, where you just like click and it just jumbles the all the settings around. Can you paint? What type of art do you make? Oh, not really. I was never a painter because I don't know why, actually. Well, the thing with painting is that you have to create a picture from nothing. And that is much different from like changing something that you already see that's already out there into something new. You know, like having a transformation of something that's already there is very different from creating something that has never been there. There's no point out there. It asks a lot more from you. And this was where I never had this kind of artistic vision or concept in that kind of sense, you know, like painting is, I would either do very abstract paintings or paintings that are very cute in a way where it's like I copy like other oh, you can fractalize it too. Okay, that might be too work intense. Ooh, ghost. So I don't know. It's not my form of expression. Let's say it like that. Yeah. Graphic boost. Is that a graphic boost? So, I would maybe try to paint, learn to paint at some point, but I don't know. Like you can see several videos on my channel where I do these kind of cute, like I make a copy of an existing work just to learn how to use the software. And a stick person. Yeah, drawing takes a lot of experience. Like there is the difference between do you want it to be realistic or not. If you don't want it to be realistic and it's nothing that is like comparable to a real thing, then it's a lot easier than when you try to be realistic and at the same time draw something that is looking like something, you know, like a face or a hand. Is very, very hard to draw because we look at faces and hands every day, all the time, right? But for example, if you draw a fish or if you draw a goat or a cow, you don't really see if it's correct or not, because people don't know what a goat looks like in detail. You don't know the exact dimensions that a nose of a goat can be before it becomes deformed. So if you make a bad drawing of a goat head, it still looks like a good goat head, right? So that's interesting. Or the easiest thing, of course, is to do aliens, stuff like that, right? But what I want to try, what I will start to try, is this kind of stuff here, because I'm more a hands-on like building person or like working with tools person. So what is she called? Kamui Cosplay? Is that her name? Kamui Cosplay. This is the channel. And you see this here, like maybe not the horns, but she has these videos on her channel where she shows how she makes all these kind of masks here and stuff and shields and this kind of thing and like helmets and whatever. And this is just made out of foam. Like it's a soft foam that you cut and then you glue it together, and it doesn't look very hard to do. I think the coloring is the hardest part. And then also let's go to Pinterest here. I made a collection of these, where is it? Here, headpieces. And I want to learn how to do that for photo work. I think some of them are rather easy to do and some of them might be pretty hard to do. Don't actually find a good example right here, but let's see. Is there another one? Headpieces. There we go. There's another collection here. You see, like probably something like this is not very hard to do. It doesn't look hard to do. And then, of course, if you want to do something like this, it's a lot harder to do probably. But you can do some really cool stuff. And I don't think it's very expensive to do it either. Or this stuff. And you can do really cool photos with that, right? Because I want to, like, this year really try to become a lot better with this kind of stuff, with portrait stuff, right? This kind of thing here, for example, or where's this other one? This one is really amazing. This here. That one here. And there's another one, let me see. Digital backdrops. Maybe we find that picture I'm looking for. No, not really. Okay. That's a nice backdrop, digital backdrop. Let me look that up real quick on Instagram. Instagram. Is it them? No, that's not it either. Sorry. I might not be able to find it right now, but there is an account that has incredible pictures on them. I should be able to find it here. 1 second. Can I click on who I'm following? Yes. Oh, there's too many people here. Oh my God. No, this is probably not gonna work. Nah, I don't know. Never mind. Never mind. I don't know. Okay. But there's like really, really amazing pictures on there. What were we doing, right? Ah, we were we were using a gimmick. Graphic novel. How is that a graphic novel right here? It's maybe this kind of old school novel. Ghost stories with the green in there. Hard sketch. Highlight bloom. Oh, there's a little bit of bloom in here. Okay, interesting. So yeah, just good, really good at that, and experiment more with that and make more videos about that. So yeah, let's see. So there's always like ways also I try to improve with the things that I'm doing. Let's look at the chat. Sorry. Use an airbrush for the painting. Nah, airbrush is even harder. I think airbrush is really hard. I think a paintbrush is a lot easier to do. What's the exciting? Glad your goals are lining up with mine. Okay, cool. That's good. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Okay. Yeah, so just trying out new things and becoming better with that. Ooh, okay. So, this is like the Hope poster. This guy became so famous. I'm sometimes really surprised why some things are that's kind of popular, right? But this is actually a good version of that. Because there's other filters who don't do it that good, but this looks pretty good. I wonder what this number down here is. Do you think that's the RAM? Like the what is it called in English? I think it's called RAM, right? That's actually pretty cool. Huh. Interesting. It's so crazy that all of this is free. Okay, let's go. Let's do another one. And by the way, you want to try also around with blending them, because if you look at my picture that I did as a, where are we here? Oh, I probably haven't saved it, but let's see here, live stream. We have already the 8th stream this year, by the way. This picture here, if you look at that with the paper texture behind that, I blended that effect with the paper, right? So this is not what Gimmick is doing on its own, or Gimmick. So think about that too, right? That's really important to try to use it with different kinds of artistic possibilities. We can have a look at that, by the way. Let's do this right now. So always try to use them or experiment with them in combination with other things. So here we have the pencil portrait. So this is this effect. You can see it looks like a painting, like a drawing. So let's apply this. And that is, it's okay, but it's not really great, right? There is like this paper element missing, so it actually looks like a drawing, because we always expect that a drawing is on paper. So you go over here to your stock tab. If you don't see that, go to view and then a studio, and then to stock down here, stock tab. There you can turn it on, and then simply look for paper, or if you don't find it, you can also write paper texture. And you can, for example, I don't know, this or this, whatever you want. Let's draw this in here. So this is what I used for my template, right? And so you want to pull this below that image, of course, and then just set this to, for example, multiply. And you can see here now we have this on the paper. And if you want to have it a little bit less extreme, you can just like make it the opacity a little bit less extreme, like so, 75%. And now you have something that looks like a convincing drawing, right? So always play around with that a little bit, right? Yeah, you can also apply other effects if you want, all kinds of things to that, or use another paper. Let's use another paper real quick. Let's use the white paper here, for example. This is very big, so we want to scale it down maybe. Let's see. Yes, this is way too big. Let's rotate that and then make it smaller, like so. And not as good, right? It doesn't really, it doesn't come through as paper. So the brown one looks better, I would say. I kind of like that better. And also you have this kind of little wrinkle in here that even like expresses even more that this is paper. So these little faults in material can often help you make it more convincing, because then you have a connection to what is actually happening out there, right? So that's kind of important to have that. All right. Let's go on with, hey, maybe we can, for the for the video about what I hate about Affinity Photo, what are things you don't like? What are things where you say, that annoys me so much that this is always happening, stuff like that. I don't want to give away mine, because that should still be interesting for the video, but if you have some, maybe you can inspire me to look at some other things. Let's have a look here. What else is there? By the way, have you looked at the other stuff in here? There's so many things. Black and white, color. They also have these adjustment things, but I find them not so useful. They are probably more useful inside of GIMP or something. Where is this? Sequence, silhouette, testing. Maybe it's color. Ah, yeah, you have these settings, like classic settings. You see, with brightness and but this is actually not that what I was looking for. Color balance, there we go. No, that's not either. Color, maybe that's something completely different than I thought it is. Color grading? Uh-huh. You can have a fake HDR effect. That's interesting. Okay. Cool, warm. That's a lot cooler, that's a lot warmer. It's not too bad, I would say. Saturation. When you rotate, what do you use? Do you snap? Wait, I can show you that real quick. So when I rotate things, like for example before, I zoom out here a little bit. So this is free rotation, right? When you just do it like that. And then if you hold the shift key, it goes in 15-degree iterations. You see, goes like this. You see 15, 30, 45, stuff like that. So that's pretty easy. The cool thing is also, if you put this to any kind of rotation like so, and this is like just somewhere in between and you want to make it straight again, just hold the shift key and pull it back to 0, because the 0, this is an absolute 0, it's not a relative 0, which is really useful. And like, if you don't know what I mean by that, absolute means it's always 0. This is the 0 of the system, basically, while relative would be relative to the position of when I rotate this. This would, for example, be the new 0 position, and if I go then 15% from there, it would be from this position, not from the original 0 position. So that's the difference between absolute and relative values, right? Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. Okay, let's go back to the effect here. We should zoom in again. Whoops, that was too big. Is it? There we go. Okay. So let me know, is there something where I say, I wish Affinity Photo wouldn't do that all the time? I don't know what this is. Spatial tone. We are in the boring area right now. Let's go back to our artistic effects maybe. Pastel art. Well, I'm not sure that is pastel art. Amplitude. The texture is wrong, right? From the strokes. That looks not like pastel. You probably can get some pretty cool. Oh my god, this is calculating too long. Let's switch over to something else before it like has a problem with my stream. Photo illustration. There's a lot of effects where I don't know what the idea is behind them. Like, what is this? First of all, what is a photo illustration? Tone mapping. Tone mapping soft. No idea what that is. Area smoothness. Do you have any idea what this could be? We could maybe look it up. Maybe we see something online. Photo illustration. What is that? Oh. It's a drawing of a photo? But nothing of this, I mean, should it look like this down here? Like so? Is that the idea? I don't think so, right? It's more like a drawing. I just started using it, so I don't know what to hate about it. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, when you get started, you don't know what should work and what shouldn't work. But there's probably still things that are kind of annoying or so. But that's really a good point that often happens is, just to know what to expect from certain things. That's the biggest trouble. I think it's also the most asked question, like, why do things a certain way and not another way, right? That is interesting here. It kind of turns all of the landscape into kind of a looks like a failed 3D rendering or something like that. Okay. I'm not sure what to do with that, but maybe for a portrait with a we could try that. Wait a second. Let's look up a portrait where we have a very solid background. Unsplash portrait. Did I write it right or wrong? Portrait. There we go. This is good here, but maybe I think there's another one that I like better. 1 second. I mean, this could be interesting here. No. Where's the this one with the woman in front of the pink? Maybe this is too detailed, right? Maybe let's go with the other one. I mean, this is very impressive here. This could be really cool. Yeah, let's try this one because it's already very abstract. So I think we could do some really cool stuff with that. Let's open that up. Go to download. Reduce it from the size again so we don't blow the computer. Okay, and then go to the filter. And of course I haven't remembered what it's called. Oh, it has remembered on its own. That's good. Outline. We can reset it here. Okay, good. Oh, nice. Okay. Let's click on OK. If you go to gimmick and on resource image gallery, you have the example. Really? I have to look at that. I didn't know that. Okay, let's. Oh no, I forgot to blend that. Okay, you see, I made that error. Oh, we can. There's a trick. Look at that. I go to select everything, copy, then I go to undo, and then I have the picture again, and now I go to paste because it's still in the memory of the computer, and so now I have both layers. As a little sneaky trick, and now we can blend this together. I mean, this is already pretty interesting, where you have the picture and the effect at the same time. Is there something else we can do? I would rather have it more intense, because that looks very not so interesting, right? If we blow this up, no. Oh, maybe, wait a second, if we... Oh, this is on normal. No, it's not on normal. Is it? No. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Okay, let's blow this up real quick here. Maybe go like this. Let's see if we then use this now. This is kind of interesting. Maybe the picture is a little bit too dark of the guy, right? Let's make this also a little bit brighter. No, I want to have more of this like effect on his face, because here it's cool. Ah, maybe we can use the blend ranges, right? Yeah, it doesn't look as good as I thought it would. As maybe the picture is too abstract for that. We can try with another picture real quick. 1 second. Let's go here again. We have to look at the resource images. Yeah, let's do that in a second. 1 moment. Yeah, let's try his face. That might be better. Everything is a little brighter. Maybe that's better. To test that out. Resize. Let's go to 2000 again. And then, this time I copy this. 1 second. Filter, plugin. So where should I go? If you go on gimmick on resource image gallery. Oh, you mean on the website? Resources. Image gallery. Oh, okay. And this is like giving you an idea of what you can achieve with the effect, right? Interesting. But they didn't do all of them, right? They just did some of them. Oh, they also have this Rodilius effect. I didn't think they have that. That's pretty cool. A lot of people seem to like that. Interesting. Okay, cool. Okay, so this already looks a lot more promising. Let's apply this right away. And then, for example, yes, that's better. That is a lot better. See? Where you have the original picture in the background and then you have the effect on top. So it's not like completely abstract, but you can see the picture through that. That is a lot better. Can also try different other ones. Darken color is also very nice. You go out here. I think you can do some pretty impressive stuff with that, maybe. Oh, this is also nice. This is also not too bad. So you can do a lot of cool stuff with that. So there's really a lot of potential for these things. And you can probably also, if you use other effects or stuff like that, on that, you can do some even more interesting things with that. For example, if you put this as an image layer here and then you use blend modes, and then because blend modes are working like a mask, but only on the image layer, and then you can use the layer effects on that as if there was nothing there, because if it's a pixel layer, it is acting like as if there is something there. But if it's not a pixel layer, if it's an image layer, it acts like the things you can't see are not there at all. So the effect goes around the contour. So if you make a little like a shadow here, the shadow should be from the line, right? So that could be really interesting. You can do some really cool stuff there. If you haven't already, it would be nice to have an overview of what all the blend modes are. I have a video on some of the blend modes, not all of them, but some of them. I need to do a part 2 with the other ones. When you go to my channel, you have a search function here, and then you go to here and just, you see this little icon here, search function, go blend, and then you should see, no, this is blend ranges. What are the blend modes good for? Here, this video. It doesn't explain all of them. In this video, what I explain are the blend modes that are up here. So I explain these one, the darken ones, the lighten ones, the overlay ones, And that's basically it. I don't explain these ones here. They are more abstract. You use them for certain purposes, but these upper ones, this is what you will use 90% of the time, are the ones in the darken area, in the lighten area, and in the overlay area for most of the stuff. And this down here you use sometimes for more special, specific, more technical things. So this is why I didn't explain them. But I could do a video about that too, right? By the way, we should go over to our challenge this week. Because, I mean, we can't go through all of the filters. There's like 500 different filters, even more than 500 different filters. But I think this was a pretty cool look into what the software can do. Yeah, so let's have a look at our challenge. And this time, I wanted to point out, the first thing I wanted to do is to push let's close this here. Trying to push the level of the community a little bit with the challenge. So I try to figure out ways where I can push my own level, and I can also push your level in the community and also on the channel a little bit, and make it with this kind of challenge where I say, okay, I will show the best works, so you can have more inspiration from them, and also you have more reason to post the best thing you can do. Of course, I know that this time I posted it very late. I posted it on Thursday because I completely forgot about that this time. So that was not awesome. I should have done it a lot earlier. So the next one I will post tomorrow, of course. But of course, at the same time, I do understand that, of course, the pictures that don't work need the most help to improve, right? So it's kind of a two-sided sword, or how do you say that, where you want to push and show the best examples, but then also help people who need the most help, right? So here we have the first example, and I was hoping we get more like this, but I don't know, the other people didn't really post. There's really skilled people in my community, but probably the time frame was too short. So let's look at this very first example. Of course, the other entries were amazing too. So I'm not wanting to say the others haven't been great. I just want to say that, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. Okay. Oh, no, this didn't work. 1 second. Let's open this up in a new link here. Can you see everything? Yes. Okay, good. So she's a nature photographer and does these amazing photos here. Also has an Instagram that you can look at. But let's look at the picture first. And this is the original picture, which is really amazing. And this is also what I meant before when I talked about it. The photography is never the real thing. It's the perspective of the photographer. Because usually if you see these kind of photos, you think, I wish I would have been there. And this is also what you see in National Geographic and stuff like that. You see these pictures, they have never been like that. That's the interesting thing. You have to keep that in mind. This is what actually was there. And this, of course, is a really cool photo, but it's not as amazing as the other version. And this is because, but this is also not because, but this is the mission of what photography has, is to bring out not just what was there, but what we emotionally see with the inner eye in the picture. That's a really important part of photography, to enhance that, to give us a better impression of what we felt at that moment. Because I'm pretty sure that while we see this, we feel this, right? So this is where that connects to actually still being real, because your emotion still is real, right? Okay, but still, it's really cool. We can look at some interesting details here. For example, you can see, first of all, the picture isn't as sharp as this picture. So a lot of the sharpness comes from the editing of the picture. It's a really important part. But another part here is that you have this object here, this twig in the foreground, which is very blurry. And it is in a not that great position, right? So usually these objects in the foreground are cool because they give more dimension to the picture, but sometimes they are not in the greatest position, especially when they are in the face or like overlaying some parts of the face. That's in most cases not a good idea, right? Especially over the eyes, stuff like that. And Nadine has tried to fix that here. I maybe should do a tutorial on that because you can see that she used the clone brush for that. And this is how you get these lines here. Maybe let's open this in a new tab. You can see if we zoom in here, you can see that these lines here, they repeat. And sometimes you don't see that when you edit because hair like looks like a uniform, like it's very repetitive anyways. But if you copy that too closely over that, you see slight repetition in here. And especially if this is zoomed out a little bit, you can see like bop, 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 bop. There is 4 different copies of that, maybe even 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's 4 actually. And you can see the same thing down here in that area where you have this little fishnet pattern here appearing from just copying this. Now in this case, it's trying to go in the same direction as the fur, so that's a good starting point, but it picks up some blurriness and some shadow that still makes a repetition pattern down here, and because of that the fur is going this way, the shadow is going this way, and you have this kind of fishnet pattern because of that down here. So you have to look out for these little things a little bit. It's too bright, you think? I don't think it's too bright. I think it's like, it's a very sunny picture. It was originally a little bit darker. She sent me a different version, but this is a version where she also used my sunlight overlay. This is also where this kind of whiskey colored summer light is coming in, and these rays also from the side to have this very nice lovely summer light situation, right? I really like the eye and how he's biting that twig. That's really amazing. The expression in the face, a really playful photo. By the way, one thing that this is a little detail here where I wonder what that is. It's probably a little bit of skin that is sticking out from the lip, not the lip, but you know what I mean. And that looks a little bit like it's a fragment in the photo. It's not. I'm pretty sure this is part of the animal here. It's just a strange bit of skin sticking out of the mouth, because you can also see that exact same part over here in the photo. So you could maybe also cover that up a little bit to clean it up, because it's kind of sticking out and it looks not very natural. Even though it looks kind of an artificial fragment where something went wrong with the photo editing. So maybe fix that too. But it's a really cool picture. I really like that. I really like the atmosphere and everything in that picture. Let's have a look at that. Yeah. So this is kind of the, I don't know about you, but this is kind of the thing where you feel when you see creatures in nature, it's like this kind of dreamy, perfect moment, right? So it's really interesting, the comparison between this and then having that, which is nice. Yeah. Okay. Another thing that I realized is that in a lot of cases, I like this in this pack, I didn't include a video because I was so sure I would finish the overlay online course maybe days later, but I haven't really had time to work on that in the meantime. I need to get back to that. I already have written the script. I only need to film it, but still I haven't done that. So this is why there is no video included this time. But I'm really seeing that people have a lot of problem to apply the overlay effect. So for example here, and I thought I explained that with the video that I made for the pack itself on how to use that, but that's often not enough. And it's also like a very short video because I don't want to have a too long video like promoting the pack. So it probably was too quick to explain these things. But what you can see here is that the thing is, if you apply the overlays to a rather bright background, the colors don't come out, right? So because you can't blend something, how can I explain that? In the darker parts of the image, there's a lot of information. In the brighter parts, there is not really information. This is also how digital pictures work, how the color in the pictures work, stuff like that, you know? And so this is the brighter it gets, the less you can blend anything with that. You can blend everything with a complete black background. You can blend whatever you want, but with a complete white background, you can basically blend nothing because there's nothing to blend with. The value is 0 in that case, right? There's nothing there. So this is why the brighter the background is, the worse it looks. I can show you that in Affinity Photo real quick. 1 second. So let's open up 2 pictures here. Let's see. So for example, we have, where's the picture I have used for my, oh, there we go. This is the picture I've used for the video. And then let's look for another video, for another picture here. Where's a bright background? Like this one here, right? Okay. So when you have this picture, you can see we have here darker values in the background, right? If I pick the color here and wait a second and look that up, you can see that this is down here. It's not up here where the very bright values are. So there is some darkness. It's a gray. This is a gray value that we have here. So we can blend something with that, right? So if I go here to place and then to my sunlight overlays, and then let's, I don't know, maybe use this one, or let's use this one, which is just freestanding. Let's use this one here. Okay, so if I blend this now, you can go with screen, or you can try different other modes. For example, add often gives you more color than screen. You can see screen is a nice way to blend something that is bright to remove the dark background in the picture. So you can see this has a black background, of course. And when I go to screen, it just blends everything and removes the black from the picture, but it doesn't have as much color. So you can also go with the add mode, which is a lot more aggressive, but it gives you a lot more color also at the same time. So you have to really balance that out a little bit between how aggressive it is and how much color you want. You can see here, if you look at these values and I have the screen blend mode and I put this over there, the values are still there. So there's still something there. It's not completely white. While when I use add, this is completely blown out here, which also cool. Also looks interesting. You can also do that if you want to. So you have to play around with that a little bit. But you can see that here in that area, we don't really have much color. And here, the darker it gets in the picture, the more color we have left from the overlay, right? Also over here, you can see this is bright and this is getting darker, but there is still a little bit of information. If this was completely white here, there wouldn't be any information left, right? So if we have a part like this down here, like so, where the snow is, you can see there isn't much to look at. So you always want to use this kind of overlay, these kind of blend effects with something where you have a darker area in the background to use that on, right? So if I use the same thing, let's put this to normal again, and use the same thing over here where we have a rather bright sky, you can see it's the same overlay, it has the same colors in there, but now if I blend that, there isn't much left. It's still interesting. You can still do some interesting things with that. You can also apply a mask to that if you want to pull it down here, stuff like that. But you can see if I put it up here, there is not really much happening. It doesn't really look that interesting. If I put it down here where we have a lot of like darker values, you can see that instantly I get a lot of sunlight and intensity in here. So if you use it, for example, here on the horizon, you get a lot of effect down here, but not so much effect up here, right? So you have to take that into consideration when you use that. And this is also basically what is happening here, where you have a cool picture and you try to use the overlay, but then there isn't really any effect there. There's nothing happening, right? So this is a bit of a problem in that kind of situation. So let's see what we have with add. No, add. You see, add is very aggressive, and you get these bending effects from because of the aggression of how strongly it is blending. You get this kind of color banding, which of course doesn't look good. So only use it in rare cases where it actually works. Yeah, so that's a little bit problematic. But in a lot of other cases, you can use that. You can use these overlays just fine. What you want to have is a little bit of a darkness in the picture and in the area where you're using that, right? Where have we used that? in the video. Or we can also try this one here, for example. Let's see if that's interesting. If we copy this over to here. Whoops. Yeah. You can see that that's interesting because we don't need much information here. We already have some sunlight here because of the clouds. And if I put this here, it's kind of blowing out the background, which is okay as an effect. But we have a lot of darker areas here in the front, and also in the sky we have a little bit of darker areas. So this gives us a nice convincing sunlight effect. And if I pull this lower, you can see that the sunlight is getting even stronger. So you can have an interesting effect with that, right? And you can also mix that. So you use multiple overlays, for example, with kind of different effects in them if you want to. So for example, that you get more rays, or you have like a second one up here. That's maybe, let's make this a little bit bigger here. So now you can see I'm using two overlays. One that is down here and gives me this more color, and one that is up here and is softer and bigger. And when I combine them, you have this like more intense effect on the picture, stuff like that, right? So that's pretty important to understand that. All right. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to do now, because this time I wanted to say I just show the best entries, but we have this entry and then most of the others are kind of, they have kind of the same problem, right? So you really tried and you did a good job, but how can I say, it wasn't applied in a way where the overlay actually works in that way. I really have to, I think I will create a video for the pack that explains that as a short course just for that pack to explain this kind of overlay and how it works. And then of course you all get an update email on that. And so most of these pictures have basically that kind of problem on how to actually apply that. I didn't expect it to be that complicated, but that's, again, like, because I've done this for a long time and for you it's new, so it's kind of hard to for me to understand what kind of things you need explained, you know, so it makes more sense and is better to use. But of course this should also be my job, that I give you a product that you can actually use in the best way possible, right? Okay. This is kind of nice here, where you have this this bokeh is already here, but it's now kind of stronger. You look at it more, right? So that's interesting. Yeah. So like I said, this one is an interesting, by the way. I'm not sure if the effect is completely intended. This is by Joanne, and this is the original picture. And so what I like about this is the artistic transformation of the photo, because it starts out as this photo, which on its own is, do we see the complete photo? Oh no, we don't. Wait a second. Now it's at 100%, and this is as also 100%, right? So we have this picture here, original picture, which is nice. And now we have she has turned it into something really interesting and completely different. A little bit dark, a little bit like scary maybe also, but still interesting. And it has this kind of paint effect on that. I'm not sure if that's intended. Like if we zoom in here, you have this kind of, how can I say, there is these fragments, and I'm not actually sure if these are fragments that are in the sense a good thing, because they are meant to simulate, for example, the texture or the fabric of a painting background, stuff like that. That could be, or give it the softness, or they are rendering fragments, which means they are errors that shouldn't have happened. So I'm not sure. But if you zoom out, it looks pretty interesting. It has this kind of soft paint effect on that. And these little fragments, they look like SUT on the picture. They look like a grunge overlay. So it could be intended. I'm not sure about that. It's pretty interesting. Darren was writing something, but I don't know what. You retracted that. Dave Rake in Affinity YouTube explains all the blend modes. Ah, okay, interesting. Yeah, there's certainly other videos out there that explain all of the blend modes. Yeah, you can, by the way, you can also look at Photoshop videos for the blend modes because they work the same way. They are based on a mathematical formula and they work basically the same they should technically work the same in all different software applications. The only difference is that some applications have some effects and others don't. Looks like a snow overlay. Yeah, there's a snow overlay, but what are these small fragments, these darker areas, these darker fragments, right? Hey, Andrzej from Poland, thanks for joining. Awesome. Okay. What else do we have here? So there's some other edits here, and like I actually only wanted to like review the best edits. Oh, you rotated it also, is interesting. Okay, again, it's kind of the same. I'm not sure why this happened here because the picture looks rather dark. But what could be is that you used opacity, and this is another thing that I'm not sure if I have explained that in the video, but this is something you should also look out for. To use either curves or to use the blend ranges to reduce the effect, not opacity, because when you use this kind of light blending, and then you use opacity, it just doesn't look real at all. I can show you again, 1 second. So let's go back to this image here. And you can see if I have it like this, and then I use opacity, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look real. It looks like a very strange orange hue suddenly appearing on the image. So that's not a good way to do that. So one way to do that is to use curves. And I'm pretty sure I showed that in the video because Affinity Photo makes this kind of error here. So you have to actually set this to erase, the curve layer to erase, not the other one. And then you can see now if I pull this down, this changes the effect and makes it darker or brighter. So this is a better way to deal with that, right? So this is one way. And another way would be to use the blend ranges. For example, the underlying composition blend ranges, which means this based on the colors of the original picture, of the brightness values of the original picture. So if I pull this down, it's actually also not that great. Wait a second, let's pull one in here, like a point. And you can see now that this is removing it just from the darker areas of the picture. So, yeah, in this case, actually, I'm not really happy with that. Let's go the other way. See what this does. Maybe let's stick with curves. Sometimes it works, but I think with the sunlight thing, it doesn't work because it's a soft gradient. So that's probably the problem here. But often with overlays, this is a good way to deal with them, is these blend ranges here. We also try this. No, that's also not great. Okay, so never mind about that for the sunlight overlays. Rather use the curves. Okay, what else can we do here? 1 second, let's close this. Boom, boom. There we go. There's another one. I really need to make that video. So here we actually have a nice color effect. I think you try to use a mask here, which again doesn't work because this is another error that Affinity Photo is doing. So in that case, what you need to do is that you want to, if you place it in there, it's an image layer, so you want to rasterize that. So it's a raster, like rasterized pixel layer. And then you use the erase tool because the blend mode doesn't work. And you can see it here. When you look at the picture, you get these kind of strange edges here and discolorations also. And the reason why that happens is because you're using a soft brush to create a mask, and a soft brush basically creates a little gradient where it goes from white to dark and has all these gray values in between. And then at the same time you apply a blend mode, and the blend mode kind of only works with some values but not with other values, and so you get this kind of very strange looking edge. But if you have a pixel layer and you erase these parts, then it means there is nothing to blend there in the first place, which is different from the mask. And this is kind of where I think Affinity Photo probably should fix that, because a mask should also make it where there is nothing there, but the eraser actually does it. And so there can't be anything blended, and you don't get these kind of strange looking edges, and you also don't get any kind of discolorations. That's also good. So that's a distractive method, but it works, and you get a really good looking result. And yeah, so try that. And also, of course, stay inside of the head, because otherwise you still have these edges, right? Okay, let's go and close this. That's a cool one, although I think this is based on a rendering from Traute. Is this a render? I think this is a 3D rendering, right? Or is it a photo? I can't really tell. It looks like a 3D rendering to me. And then this is it looks really cool as the effect, as the sun ray effect. And also the interesting thing is, because of the sun ray effect, the background here that looks kind of painted or something, and you have this bird in here that I think you also put in from another picture. In the original picture, that doesn't look real at all, but because now you have this kind of blown out light effect here, and the soft gradient from the sunlight, that looks a lot more real, because you can't see the details, first of all, and secondly, all these elements have been blended together in a sort of ambient light, right? The only thing that's a little bit strange is that suddenly you have this kind of pink sky that was blue before. And this now sticks out as being kind of a hard gradient, where there's the question, what is happening there? Is this a big cloud that looks like a dough for a bread? Or I'm not sure what that is. Is it a mountain maybe in the background? But the edge is a bit too hard in that case, right? And not for a mountain, but for a cloud. Okay, so let's have a look at that. By the way, there's another thing I'm thinking about right now. I was thinking that maybe in my live streams, what I could do, let me go to the talk for real quick. We will go to the picture. I'm small again. I'm shrinking. Okay. I was thinking I could edit my pictures, because you have seen that if I do a 2-hour stream and I talk 20 minutes at the beginning and make a review of half an hour at the end, I maybe have less than an hour to work on a project. That is way too short. So my idea, and I kind of want to try that, is to say, we're going to start to work on a project, but I'm not going to finish it in this stream. And then we work on it in the next stream, and then maybe in the next stream after that, until it's finished. Because a project to work on a picture, to finish that, can easily take 3 hours or longer. So we could do this over multiple streams to show you the process that I'm going through to create a picture. For example, like this one. Let's go to Instagram real quick. To create a work like this one is easily multiple hours to put in all the layers and stuff like that. But I'm not sure if that's interesting to watch the process of one picture being edited for multiple hours. Like I said, in different streams, not on the same stream. Or if that's something like we should stick to really easy edits, like I've done in the beginning, where I've done this kind of stuff here. Wait a second. These kind of things here, because that's super easy. This is this doesn't really take much. It's just like overlay of different effects and then a little bit of gradient. That's easy to do. That doesn't take much time. I think that was back in a time where I did 2 or 3 pictures in one stream, right? With these kind of effects, where I challenged myself to create these things. But this is a lot easier, of course, compared to this kind of thing, which is very involved. Cleaning up the skin, putting in the light, all these kind of dozens of layers that are in there, stuff like that, right? So that might be interesting. It's a composite with own photos. Yes, this one is photos that I've shot myself. I have multiple projects of her that I haven't finished yet, that she's still waiting on, which is really bad because I've taken the photos last October and still not finished them. So I should do that maybe sometimes. Love that idea. So we can try that. Let's try that over the next streams. It's a little bit more pressure for me because usually It's kind of, if you want to work artistically and then have someone peeking over your shoulder, that's kind of, you feel like, oh no, I hope it's going well. But at the same time, you see all the mistakes that happen, all the kind of artistic problems, because our art is a puzzle that you have to solve every single time when you create a work. So that's also interesting, where sometimes you will see me just throw away like an hour of work because it turns out it's not as good as I thought it is, right? Okay. Yeah, so we can do that. Let's try that for the next live stream. That would be interesting. Let's see if is there something else we want to look at. Here's another one that's interesting, but I really need to make that video and also make that online course, right? Yeah, but this is, it has a nice ambient light. Also, you can see how the light situation is changing. The sun is a little bit like, I would maybe have a second copy that's a little bit bigger, but not as strong. So you have a little bit more glow because it ends kind of suddenly here. But still, it's interesting, right? And also in this case, use dodge and burn to bring out the 3D elements of the sculpture here more. That's really important. Just paint that in with dodge and burn, make this a little bit darker and this a little bit brighter, and then it looks a lot more interesting, right? What if you separate and have a live stream for editing and one for reviews? Yeah, the problem is I make a challenge every week, so that wouldn't work. Unless we only make a challenge every second week, but I don't want to do that actually. I want to do a challenge every week. And I don't want to do 2 streams per week because I already do 2 tutorials and a challenge and a live stream and something else. I forgot. I don't know. But other stuff. So yeah, that's too much. Oh, I'm an idiot. I forgot to switch over. Thanks for telling me. Sometimes I completely forget about that. What have I talked about? What was the last thing you've seen? Did you see the Instagram pictures that I showed you or no? Did this stuff, you saw that stuff or not? Oh my God, I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. We didn't see any of the Insta photos. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Okay, so these are the pictures I'm talking about. And this took multiple hours to create all this kind of stuff here, and the textures here on the skull, and cleaning up the skin and stuff like that. And of course, a lot of the time is spent like going backward and forward, trying out different kind of ideas from what you originally thought would be the work to what you finally think is a good kind of thing, a good kind of work. For example, I had to restructure the smoke that goes up here. I had to restructure it so it flows softer, but then I also had to make it split it up in multiple layers because there is darker parts here. Like for example, it blends here in with a brighter background and here with a darker background. So you have to use different blend modes. So you still see the finer structures of the smoke coming in the air, and then you have to mask both of them out so they flow into each other as if it is just one thing, right? So that would be interesting, I think. Yeah, Matthew says, yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's try that. Andrea says, guess not. I'm not sure what you're reacting to or what I said. Any example? Okay. And also this is another project here. This is actually a white photo. I have to upload this again. Yeah. Whoa. Alexa is talking to me. Okay. Good. You can see here that the hair is actually over here in the, how do you say? Efeu is, I don't know, in the leaves, but you can't see it in this version here because I made it a square picture. So yeah, anyways. Okay, good. We were talking about this here also. With that picture, you can see Like this is one of the overlays that also has this ambient light built into that, which is very nice. And I would just take a second one of these suns and put it on top of that and make it a little bit bigger, but a little bit reduced. So it doesn't have this kind of very short, like it ends a little bit abruptly here for this picture. I feel like there should be a little bit more, right? It was to if we have seen your Insta. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's true. Okay, and I also need to post more here. There was another thing I wanted to show you. But I don't think I have saved that anywhere. A really cool photo project, but doesn't matter. I can show you another time. Okay. I don't know what to do. I said I want to pick out only the best works, but now we go through all the works. Let's see. Let's pick out 2 more because we're already at 2 hours. Let's pick out maybe 2 more pictures here. That's an interesting from Marco. Let's open this up. Let me close down these others here. And then there was also this one, which is using artistic effect, which is very interesting. So let's look at these 2, and that's it. Okay, so like I said, this time it's a bit of a different challenge where I just review some of the pictures, not all of the pictures, just to also give you an incentive to push for better quality. And also I want to push for better quality myself, right? Okay, let's look at this one. Yeah, I was looking at this one before, and I really like the light situation. So this is the original, and you made it very dark. But it's cool because then you have more of this light effect here, and I like how this evening light is coming in here, very soft and kind of this cowboy atmosphere, stuff like that. And you used an overlay also because the grass here is so green, and this is the thing, the horses are also green a little bit. So you want to maybe mask that out, or maybe again play with the blend ranges. So because the horses are all very dark, this could work where you say underlying blend ranges, and that means that the gradient, this kind of green gradient here, or maybe adjustment layer that could also be, is applied only to the brighter areas, but not to the shadow and the darker areas. And so the color is there, the ambient color, but not in the shadows where you don't have color because it's black in there, right? So try that out. Again, with the underlying blend ranges, you go here to this, you select the layer that you're using, adjustment or picture, and then click here on this little icon, and you use these underlying composition ranges, and you can pull that down, right? Like so. I can actually show you real quick, 1 second. So let's make, for example, here a recolor layer. Let's make it blue, like so. And then if I go here, and you can see now if I pull this down here, it will only be applied to, yeah, you can see the change. Where if I pull this right over here, it's not really applied to anything. But if I have it here, like let's move this over here. You can see that now it's applied to the brighter areas, but not to the complete dark areas. So this is still shining through, right? Here, the color of the hair and the color of the lips and stuff like that is shining through, while the brighter areas are darker. Of course, you can also go the other way, where, where you do it like this, and then it's only applied to the brighter areas, but not to the darker areas. No, I think I said it the wrong way, right? No, yeah, I'm confused. No, it's not applied to the brighter areas, but it's not applied to the brighter areas, but to the darker areas, right? So because if I reset that, you can see that the snow here is completely blue. And if I pull this down, you can have the snow still being mostly white. And you still, but the thing you have to look for is that you still have a smooth border. Because if I pull this up here, you can see you get these like very harsh borders here. So you want to move this down and like so, and make it soft again, right? As you can see now, it's applied to certain areas, but not to the brighter areas in the picture. So this kind of thing you can do. All right. Let's go back here to the other work. What's the chat saying? I applied one of your gradients. Thanks for the advice. Ah, you're welcome. Ah, okay, one of the gradients. Yeah, I thought so. I thought so, right? Yeah. I also used an overlay to create more color on the figure. Ah, okay, interesting. Yeah. It was, yeah, this is like what it's meant for. This is why the background of most of the overlays is not completely black. So you have a little bit of ambient light from the sunlight in there also. So everything in the scene is fitting together, because it wouldn't make sense if you suddenly have this kind of nice whiskey color sunlight sunset and then the rest of the picture stays the same. So this is why I created that, right? Okay. This is also an interesting effect where I think also one of the overlays is applied to create this really beautiful sunlight here in the back. And this is actually the original picture. So I guess you were using Gimmick to create these paint effects here. I used Golden Sun 2 as an overlay, as well as a filter forge. Okay. With the Impressionist brush effect. That looks pretty cool. Really cool. Very nice. Added the text and maple leaf. Yeah, so that's really awesome. And I like that. I like that effect also because it reminds me, first of all, of course, of kind of impressionistic art, stuff like that. But also this is often used for kind of backgrounds of music that I like. Kind of these kind of piano mixes that you find on YouTube, stuff like that. They have pictures like that, so that's pretty cool. Very nice effect. And if you didn't know, like probably you do know because you have watched my last live stream, but there's also Filter Forge, which you have to buy. But it has filters. It's a little bit like Gimmick, but the difference is that you have even more filters in here. I think 20,000. And you can also build your own filter. So this is a lot more versatile. Then you can also do textures, by the way. But you can also, as you can see here, you can build your own filters completely from scratch or adapt any filter you find to add new functions or new sliders or any kind of new things you want to. So maybe also an interesting option. Okay, that's that. Oh my God, I have to write Filter Forge because they wanted to put some of your pictures on their page because they really like them. So I have to contact the people. I really forgot about that. Okay. Yeah, that's it for today. I hope that was interesting. I hope you had a lot of fun. I'm shrinking again. I have to sit upright. I'm sorry. There we go. Whew. Okay, so we are almost at 2 hours. I think that's good timing. And thank you very much for watching. I hope it was interesting with a little bit of conversation at the beginning and all the cool stuff in the middle with Gimmick and of course the reviews at the end. And next time we will work on a photo project together on one of my photo shootings and see how far we get and what we can do with that. So you can see the complete process that I'm going through. Yeah, so let's see how cool that is. And I will post the next challenge tomorrow in the Facebook group, right? Okay. Thank you very much for joining my live stream and see you tomorrow in the Facebook group, basically, right? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.